The American media once prided itself on its watchdog role, challenging power, exposing lies, and framing public debate. But in the era of Donald Trump, the nation's most powerful outlets, including the New York Times and the Washington Press Corps, are struggling. Worse, they are normalizing what should never be normalized. When Trump deploys AI-generated fake videos, posts official government messages dripping with profanity, or calls half the electorate lunatics and vermin, the press rarely confronts it directly. Instead, the response is cautious editorials about compromise or polite references to bombastic social media blasts.
Let's be clear, this isn't just a coverage gap. It's a full-scale crisis of journalism.
The New York Times editorial that missed the point. This week, the New York Times published an editorial titled "The Real Stakes of the Shutdown." On the surface, it looked thoughtful and precise. It described the standoff: Trump pushing to cut healthcare access, Democrats refusing to yield, a textbook presentation of political conflict. But here's the problem. It ignored the most important factor shaping the shutdown: the chaos and deception coming directly from the White House. The editorial didn't mention the AI deepfake videos Trump's team posted from official taxpayer-funded accounts. It skipped over the fact that Trump mocked Democratic leaders with doctored profanity and racist imagery. It treated a grotesque abuse of power as if it were irrelevant to the crisis.
That isn't journalism, that's surrender.
Donald Trump has rewritten the rules of political communication. AI fakery as propaganda. Official White House social channels have posted manipulated videos of Chuck Schumer using foul language he never uttered, and Hakeem Jeffries wearing a sombrero. These aren't memes from a fringe forum. They're paid for by U.S. taxpayers. Profanity as brand. Trump is the first U.S. president to routinely curse in public, deliberately and repeatedly, as if vulgarity is strength. Dehumanization of voters. He calls opponents vermin and lunatics, borrowing directly from the lexicon of history's darkest regimes.
This is not bombast, it's not theatrics, it's madness, deliberately deployed as strategy.
And yet, the mainstream press often writes about it in the same tone they used for Bill Clinton negotiating budgets with Newt Gingrich in the 1990s, as if we're still living in that era. To understand how far the media has fallen, compare the treatment of Hillary Clinton's deplorables comment in 2016 with Trump's rhetoric now. Clinton said, "Deplorables once in a private fundraiser, not intended for broad broadcast." The media pounced. Many pundits declared it the single defining mistake that doomed her campaign. Trump has repeatedly labeled tens of millions of Americans vermin and lunatics in public speeches and official posts. The coverage? Minimal, dismissive. At worst, a brief mention. That is the media's double standard. When a Democrat makes a slip, it is treated as disqualifying. When Trump launches slurs that echo fascist rhetoric, it is normalized as Trump being Trump. Republican complicity, silence as strategy. It isn't just the press. Republican leaders know Trump is unstable. They say it in private. They nod along when Democrats describe him as unwell. But in public, they retreat to cowardice. The Speaker of the House, confronted with Trump's behavior, didn't deny it. He didn't defend the president's sanity. He simply muttered, "A lot of folks on your side are unwell too." That's not leadership. That's capitulation. What we're watching is not just silence, it's complicity. The GOP has effectively taken an oath of cowardice. Never criticize Trump, never contradict him. never admit the obvious truth.
The press's fatal mistake: treating madness as normal. Here's what the New York Times and other outlets don't seem to grasp. Trump has collapsed the boundaries of political discourse. He doesn't negotiate, he humiliates. He doesn't persuade, he degrades.
So when an editorial calmly says, "It is incumbent on the president and Congress to negotiate a compromise," it reads like satire. Negotiate? With a man who uses AI to put fake profanity in your mouth and laughs while doing it? That isn't negotiation. That's abuse. By treating Trump's behavior as just another outburst, the press normalizes it. They write editorials that could have been penned in 1985. But this isn't 1985. It's the Trump era, where insanity is policy and chaos is governance. Every government shutdown is disruptive. Federal workers go unpaid, services stall, citizens suffer. But this one is different. It's being driven not just by policy disputes, but by a president who thinks politics is a meme war. The real stakes aren't just healthcare access or spending cuts. The real stakes are sanity versus insanity. Can a president wage war on truth itself and win? Will the media keep pretending this is business as usual? Or will journalism finally adapt to the reality that this presidency is unlike anything in American history? The outrage mechanism that sleeps for Trump. The host's warning is chilling but true. When Democrats make mistakes, the outrage mechanism of the press roars to life. Joe Biden stumbles over a sentence, and reporters scream in his face about his age. Hillary Clinton says one word too harsh, and her campaign implodes. But with Trump, silence. Euphemism. Business as usual. That's not objectivity. That's bias in favor of chaos. The bigger picture. A war on reason. Trump's presidency is more than politics. It's a cultural assault. It's the first presidency where propaganda memes have been elevated to official government messaging, where the boundaries of truth are shredded in real time. The media's responsibility is to identify this clearly, not shrink from it. To call it insanity when it is insanity. To confront it when it is poison. To abandon the false equivalence of both sides when one side has detonated the rules of discourse. If they don't, they're not chronicling history. They're enabling its distortion.
Why Pulse News is covering this differently. At Pulse News, we refuse to play along with the normalization game. We won't dress up insanity as bombast or dodge the truth with euphemisms.
Here's what we see. Trump has weaponized AI, profanity, and dehumanization. The media has lost its compass. The New York Times editorial board is acting like it's still the 20th century. The GOP is complicit through silence. Fear of Trump has turned leaders into cowards. The stakes are existential. This isn't just about a shutdown. It's about whether democracy can withstand a presidency powered by chaos. That is the story. That is the truth. And that is what every citizen deserves to hear. Donald Trump has shattered the old rules of politics. But the greater tragedy is that America's leading newspapers and television networks are still playing by those rules. They write as if Trump is a conventional president negotiating conventional disputes.
He isn't. He's broadcasting madness, AI fakery, and dehumanization from the official pulpit of the White House. And unless the press calls it what it is, insanity, the public will be left drowning in propaganda, while truth gasps for air. The media can wake up, or they can continue to sleepwalk through history. But history won't be forgiving.